Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Andres and we are just doing a little bit of cargo hauling. We're not going up, we're actually going down to exit the ship. This is the top deck, I'll show you later. I didn't mean to come up this way. And you won't see the lower deck until a little bit later. So this is the Argo Raft. And I think it's the Raft, called the Raft because of this big gantry that we have, which connects anything to it, basically up to 32 SCU boxes, like the ones that you get on the backs of articulated containers, lorries, that type of size. Look like a 30-foot container. We just got to go and bring up all the stuff that I've just been picking up, and we should have plenty of room on this to just bring it all in. It's raised currently, so we have to send it down. I've been on and off all weekend. This is a Sunday. Been on and off all weekend, just playing solo mainly. Had a couple of other guys try to jump in on my mission. Two of them, they stood to attention, and was expecting me to employ them, and I think they could hear me talking on the mic. And this has a rear gun, this thing here, which is a laser tractor beam, and we could basically pull all that stuff up. But I'll put one on. It's all just going to go on in any order because basically it's all going to the same place. It's just flying it down to the planet. So normally when you attach a lot of these, so I don't understand how that one attaches, because it's not on the cargo grid, you see. But what I'll do is I'll just throw a couple of them under there, and then we'll get to using the proper machinery. I've had quite a bit of an issue sorting out the targeting. See, look how well it sticks if you're not careful. So what I wanted to do here was make sure it was right far over into the corner, and although we'll take a quick look out that window before we can't see out of it anymore, because we are going to fill it up. So I'll just put a couple more. I think we was on aluminum. We won't be able to pick them up in any particular order because there's no need, because they're all going to the same place. And the other side of it is that when you're on the gantry mounted tractor beam, oops, knocked myself over, accidents will happen, you cannot see the names. Like on this one you can see that it is contracted corundum, it's a contracted job. we'll just put these two in place. That should mark it up really. And then we'll fill in that gap. Let's go back up in the elevator. And by default the first setting is the top deck, and that's quite handy when you're actually doing the main job, which is loading cargo. And it still takes you an age. It depends on how big the containers are. I mean, this is going to take forever because it's only small containers. So this is the cargo handling grid, and if I hold F, there's another button in there which I didn't see, and this is the crane. Now if you hold C on your keyboard, it'll spin it back to facing forwards. I wondered if there was one for spinning it backwards as well to the rear, but as it is, you've got to keep your eye on that spot. So I'm targeting that highest, tallest box, as you can see. Then once I fire it up, it'll pull that off. So then I wind it in with the wheel, and then just turn it round with the C button, and then we just want to rake it along the roof really. It is quite tricky to use. So as soon as I start to move it like this, I have my eye on that centre. What's on that top, the highest box right now, there's a little ring with some dots under it. So we'll wind it in, hold C, and then try and steady it while I push the mouse away. And it is a bit of a laborious and boring task, and I had thought of giving it to those two lads that was going to be knocking about with us, but they didn't seem like that they wanted to just play a boring game. They probably wanted you know, guns and those Dune type worms in their game, which I was going to go and have a look at them, and I need some people, and I've lost that one. It isn't easy to manipulate, mainly because all my that's no good. Thing is, if you do put them in the wrong place, you can't get nothing else behind it. So you've got to fill it up from the furthest away. And I have had some ASCU containers on there and some larger ones, the big flat square type. So I've been using it all day. So it's about 11 o'clock this morning, and now it is 7 o'clock at night. And it is hard to manipulate with my current settings. I'm sure if I could find the right settings, so I keep dropping it because I'm trying to time it. You wind it in and it doesn't want to stop. Look, it just keeps coming at you. So I've wound it away with just 1/4 of a turn. I've just tweaking it back towards me. Nope, still missed it. I mean, I could technically fill that hole in later on. I'll have to do that. But this is basically where I would want to put a time lapse into the video. So I will be quiet for a little bit in case I want to do that. I mean, I know I can put some music over the top of it, me talking all the time. And you can build down, you can actually put more on there, but you know, these are jobs that are about 10, and I've lost that one. I have to go and pick that one up with the hand tool. And then another way I was doing some of this was I was just dropping them down anywhere. It's going to make you dizzy, this. I just don't understand why it's so spongy. I've actually tried every different setting. I've even had ChatGPT on it trying to help me with it, and ChatGPT can't fix it either. You know, which control belongs to which thing. So you move one and it changes something else. It changes the thing you wanted to change, but then it also affects something else. So then you get into your pilot seat to fly it, and your controls all upside down. So you set that back, and this is back upside down again. So I've just dropped half a dozen of on the floor like that, and you can't. I don't think really you should drop too many, because traditionally what's happened with my lots is I've had 2 or 3 on the floor and I've lost one. See if we can pick that one up. Another one I've dropped. So I'm going to have to go and do a little bit of a clean up, I think. And I had it in my mind that you could walk out there on that gantry, because it looks as though you can, but I've not found a way out there. These are all your machinery parts for your vehicle. And this lift just runs on automatic, so if you try and leave it in any one position, it always returns to the lower deck. So even when you're going outside the ship, like we are now, it'll only stay down for a short while. And you can pick one of these on the elevator. I did take one up when I was just this one box short of being able to take some boxes on there. The rest of them were all larger containers. It was dry ice I was moving. Oh, I wanted to show you outside the window there, because we didn't really look, did we? We still get a view. And it's quite a strong magnetic pull that it renders. So, you know, you think, how am I going to get it in there? I mean, because of course you can do 2 or 3 layers with this stuff. Look, I can't even get it into the one that I wanted in, which is that one. I'm getting a lot of lag. Well, because I'm recording and playing this game on the same computer. I should maybe try and output the OBS. Well, I suppose we could leave that there so you can see from the window. We'll go back in. And just by way of showing you some of the parts in the ship, because you haven't been on the other deck yet, and it will take us there. I should have done this actually. You can actually go just straight to the lower deck, but it defaults if you just press the F key, it fires it off. So no doubt you'll see this bit later, but we'll go show you the bridge first. That's the bridge. Co-pilot seat. Co-pilot seat, apparently I've not had anyone in it while I've been flying it, but if a co-pilot is in the seat, he is the gunner. But other than that, if you have no co-pilot, you are the gunner. You've got front firing weapons and also a turret on the top, but you don't access the turret from here. And then this is the little window we've got, which I was showing you. You can see the boxes outside the window. Yeah, and there's the hangar down there, the cargo lift, cargo elevator. And then you've got a little kitchen. I can't wait for all this stuff to work properly, and where you have to bring resources. You know, you might have to bring your teas and your coffees and your juices and stuff on, so and fill it with water and things like that. It'll be part of your refueling on your landing pad from your mobiglass. And then there's 2 bunks, and then down here you've got a suit locker room. I'll put my torch on, and there's your pooper and your shower. Sink. Put it away. It's just a little cubby hole, and there's your pooper. So they have thought of everything for us. And your suit lockers, of course. The only thing I don't particularly like about these suit lockers is that I don't think you can hit that on the inside. So if I go in there and it closes, I'm done, because you can't hit the button once you're inside. Yeah. So if you was collecting stuff, you could have a range of different suits in here, I suppose. Suit lockers. I should think they're suit lockers anyway. But there's 4 in here. 1, 2. 1, 2. What's the? Oh, but those will be for the hot suits, and those will be for the cold suits, maybe, depending on where you're working. Your weapons racks, and then this is your ladder up to your deck you just see me at, and it's just a little cubby hole there for your ladder. And then there's lots of these like terminals like this for your engineering, and then all these are just obviously you know, various slots for putting things in. But I'm not going to touch those. And there's your elevator. So let's continue on with this loading. And because it's not the Invictus week any longer, of course my grandson can't play, because we only had him on a free account. It is his birthday, and I was going to buy him this, but you know, just a beginner ship, the Aurora, something like I've got, which is all I've got is the Aurora MR. Right, stop there, and let me push there. So if there was one to turn us back round, that would be great. So I'll just tap the C button, or hold the C button, should I say. Now quickly got to keep your eye on that very central thing, and you lose it all the time because everything else is around you, there's the same colours. So not very good choice of centre colour. I'll try and get that one. Right, you can go there then. But if you see what I mean about how it's sort of like, if I want to stop it there, I've got to stop pulling up on it before I get to the box, because it just keeps going. It's not very controllable. It's all spongy like that rubber bandy thing that some things do. Dead awkward. You know, and I've had this type of thing before when the tractor beam didn't work as well. I'm going to try and push it while it's up at the top. And it was dead accurate. You see, I don't want none of this. So if I move my mouse now and I stop, I've already stopped, and yet it's still spinning. So you've got to counteract it by going in the opposite direction. So if you've had any speed on it at all, you've got to back it off. So, you know, it's a nightmare because you've got to do all them boxes. Look, there's still all them to do. And you can understand then why people don't like doing the cargo runs. What I usually do, and it wasn't a thing I was going to make a video about at all today, but I just thought I've wasted enough time playing this with this cargo raft, Argo raft, and gotten reasonably good at it. You should see this is really good for me. Should have seen what I was like with it before I first started with it. It was awful, and I was trying to constantly stop in to get the settings to go right. This is the best I can get them. If somebody knows of a better thing, they can post a link to a video in the comments maybe. I have seen quite a lot of videos. I watched loads and loads of videos on how to set up turrets, from turret weapons through to turret mining equipment and turret tractor beam equipment like this, and not any of them really have helped. They haven't taught me anything I don't really know. What you need is somebody to pin down exactly what each control does, so that when you're in your options menu you say this one only controls that, and they can't do that because I don't think they do only control one thing. So you go into your VJoy, they call it a VJoy setting, and you alter that, and then you find out it's moved something else, and then you null one of the mouse sensitivities off, you take it right down, and you turn your dead spot right down, and the next thing you know, you've altered something else, and something else doesn't work, mainly on foot or in flight. So what I'm going to just do for you now is show you what's wrong with my controls at the moment. I'll just give you the lowdown here on the thing. So in the game settings, you can pause and set yours the same way if you want. I use a puppeteer control, so when I push forwards on my mouse, I look down, or look forwards. If I pull back on the mouse, I'll look up, and I'll try and just stop it there for a few seconds. I'll give you time to pause the video and then copy those across if you want to read those and match them up, or for somebody with more experience at these things could maybe tell me what's wrong. I don't understand what all of these are. Relative throttle and dead zone for mouse, yes. Pilot VJoy mouse dead zone, percentage of the range. So I don't know exactly where to set that, and it was at 450, so I left it there. And I'm loath to try and move anything, because I move something then I have to write it down, because I'll go back into another turret, or I'll go to fly the ship and things won't work the same way, and the only thing I've changed is this one thing. So my advice is, if you're not fully au fait with all these settings, like I aren't, then just alter one thing at a time and then go and play it a bit more, see what it alters. And there's just a couple more. Stop it for about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's not going to be good for everyone, because some people are going to miss things on here. You might not even be able to see it. I don't know if the resolution in the video quality will be up to it. Controls there. So my inversion settings on foot, I like that. In flight, like that, I have the yes. For the free lock is pitch. So yes, this sets the mouse when you push it forward. So those were on no when I first started changing them round, because as I say, I like the puppeteers. So this is VJoy mode, turret pitch. Now I would have had that to yes, but it's working the right way around, so I don't get it. Why is this one set to no and yet it works the right way, whereas the others have to be set to yes to accept? So that's the type of thing, by moving one thing you're moving another. You change one setting and it might change a setting in here. So virtual joystick, I haven't done these yet, because since I've been messing with it today I haven't had a chance. I did reset all of my key bindings and everything else, because they were all over the page. They've actually moved the settings around in StarCitizen quite a bit. And when you're looking at videos on YouTube to see if you can get some assistance setting this, like a tutorial on mouse sensitivity curves, and then you find out that they have got mouse sensitivity curves, but the next one won't have these on it, be something different. And then I did have those down to 40 and then it was too slow, so I moved them back up again. And what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. I try and get it right, slow it down enough for that turret that I was on about. Pitch and yaw. So I've slowed them down to like 70. I'll just try and take them down to 60. So that will now make it a little bit more easy to handle. With this, when you move the settings, you don't actually have to so look, there's more, and in there's more. So I don't know, one of these might be altered, might be something tying off that sponginess with it, so that when my mouse stops, I want it, just like this mouse is moving here on the screen, if I want to move to that point there and I stop, in reality my cursor on the screen still drifts that way. Then I have to counter it by dragging it back, and then it makes it very hard for me to target anything, because it moves backwards and forwards over that target. If that was my target, I just want to be able to go like that, straight to it, don't I? Straight to that target, boom, shoot that, dead. And I can't do that. So I don't know how to explain it other than that. And you know, it genuinely makes you feel stupid because there's no other instructions. You know, ground vehicle view pitch, combat pitch. Then what's the difference? GV pitch. What's the difference between that and that one? What's that one for? Is that for a different vehicle? You know, there's no help files. So that's them in the controls, and you've had the game settings. Key bindings really doesn't matter to show you because I don't know how to separate those out. I have actually changed a few. Comms, VoIP, FOIP, Face over Internet Protocol, and head tracking. So I'll move down to that one. So it should give you an opportunity to stop your video if you want to set them the same as what I've got them, if you're having a problem. And I'm actually also recording this for myself because you should be able to save them and set them. Audio controls there. That's all there is to that. I did turn my audio down, so that needs to come back up to about 80. And my graphics are set as they are. It's full screen 1920 by 1080 DirectX 11. TSR, I don't know what that means. Quality very high, but all the rest are medium. And that's it. Now to save it, you don't actually do anything, you just go back and then return to your game. And now let's see if that's changed this. It's moving slower. Well, I'll turn that one down from 70 to 69. Missed. Got it. So I'll pull it in. I could turn by hand, of course, but I just use the holding the C key. It's very slow and awkward. I'm losing that one. Yep. Now I have to start slowing it down. And try pulling one out between two boxes. You can't really do it. It's not. Don't work very well like that. I'll show you what I mean. So, if we is that working? I believe my sound is playing up. So. And I don't have to show all of this anyway, I can just show a little bit of it just to see what's going on. That was just my intention, and to try and record a little bit of what I'm playing gameplay wise today. So just can't I just can't get no grips on these boxes, you know. What I'll do is I'll pull a few more out. It just saves having to go all the way over there for them. Let me show you one. Trying to pull the middle one out here on these dark front boxes. Look, I'm pulling at it, I'm pulling at it, I'm pulling at it. Doesn't want to come out. So if you target the one on either side, if I can find the centre reticle, there it is, then it'll come out. So in order to transport them, well, there it is. Just transport them out of it as quick as I can. Like I say though, the trouble with this, doing it this method, is that you run the risk of losing your boxes. So lost that one. So right now the beam is playing up a little bit now. For some reason something's just changed on it. Maybe it's the boxes I've got out. Don't know. And of course from the ship's energy point of view, we haven't got the engines on, because if you have the engines on, that could make the ship lighter. You know, the thrusters, there's that issue with the ships in StarCitizen where if you have the engines on, the thrusters are on and the ship could blow away. I know I'm in a hangar, but the other thing is sometimes I've been told, or it was in a video, so it didn't tell me personally, it was just mentioning it, that if you have your engines on, your ship can start jumping about manically, and I've had that with my Cutlass Black. I'm just trying to get it to go and stay in it. I want the box near the top. That's it. I think that is another box. Is it? Yeah, I'll have to go and pick that one up. And I don't just mean lose your boxes as in you can't see them. Like there's a couple that I know that are on the floor that I can't see. I mean lose them in as in they fall through the floor. And I've had about 3 deliveries today, losing me 50 grand a time, because all my deliveries at minimum 50 grand. So I can't handle it anymore. It's even making me feel seasick. So I'll go do the rest by hand. And since that elevator resets down to the next deck, I go down to the next deck like this, through the suit locker room, and out into the elevator. Is the best way to get to the elevator rather than to wait for it to come up slowly. And then we will use the hold F and pull down on the mouse to the exit and then let it go. So I have had a person say to me they're holding F and they can't make it work. I said, well, you use your mouse to direct. I thought there was one round this side. Obviously not. Must be this one was hiding. Let's see. So you can actually make it. You've missed any holes. Like there's one there, look. But the thing I was trying to avoid was leaving any gaps at all. Trying to get them off like this is just as hard. So you see what I mean about how finicky it is. So yeah, not very enthralling gameplay, but you know, this shows you what the reality of doing the cargo is like. Depends on, you know, your controls on your vehicle. I mean, if the controls had been like they used to be, it's the same with the black Cutlass Black. So the Cutlass Black also has a cannon on the back, like that one, like this Argo cargo. It's not an Argo cargo, it's an Argo Raft. And we're at Bikini Point by Genie. And there might be a couple of 11 off containers. I'll go clear up. I hope that isn't the elevator moving down. Yeah, so there's another thing that happened. I had some large containers and the elevator cleared off on its own back down the hill. Another time when I had the elevator up, I still had some stuff on the elevator, and for some reason my ship just disappeared. And it was in the hangar storage, but it never went down in the lift. It was literally, there it is. I went like that over at the near my counters over there. I looked at the counters and then I turned back and my ship was gone. And it wasn't invisible because I wasn't bumping into it, so because that happens. Of course, you can have an invisible ship, and you can also have invisible cargo, where the cargo is actually there. So, the joys of playing StarCitizen. And I was listening to Salty Mike talking about it, and he says he's had some fun today fighting the snakes or the worms or whatever they call them. They look like the ones that are in Dune. You know, with the spice. So, Awakening, there's Dune Awakening, it's the new game out. And these sand snakes or whatever they are, these sandworms, massive things. They're hundreds of feet long and, you know, like 30 feet in diameter type of thing. And he was enjoying that, although he had all his mates with him, and he did give them credit that he wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for them, because they were helping him up, you know, to support his channel, helping him up, giving him ammo, because he went out there with not enough. Well, he took 2,500 rounds out there, which should be enough. but you know, you can never say what's enough. You know, I've had one of these containers full of ammo before today, and I've gone through it all. So and it's what's annoying is as well when you have a container of ammo or armour and stuff and you take it with you, because currently I'm dressed for lighter work because you don't want to be working in too heavy a gear. So this is me currently, and I could have took my helmet off, I suppose. What's my health like? Just a little bit of food. I'm alright for water. I did drink a bottle of Vestral water. Let's take the helmet off. The only thing is, if any of these boxes fall on your head and you haven't got the helmet on, you haven't got the armour, have you? Smash your skull in. So there's plenty of room in this. When I was in the Cutlass Black, of course. I mean, I don't know why I'm trying to just stick them in the hole. There's plenty of room. I could just do that. You know, it doesn't really need anything. Just put them up anywhere, can I? Just throw them up. I think I lost one over there as well. Just having a good skag around. Look around. There was one that bounced off the top, and luckily, when I was doing one of these runs earlier, this is a 300,000 run, by the way, just for them few boxes. So you say, oh well, what's the point? It's boring taking all them boxes. It is boring, but the thing is, it's a good little earner, a good money thing. So this also has a airlock, and I had to go on that. I actually stood up while I was in Quantum Drive, and I fell out of the spaceship in middle of space, and this carried on at Quantum Drive speed and just disappeared off into the distance. And I was going to I think it was RL1, no, yeah, RL1. So I then died because I didn't have my helmet on, and by the time I put my helmet on I was already injured to the point where I could not survive. And yeah, so I jumped in my Aurora MR, which is still out in space incidentally. I left it there in case I got to do some scrappage today, because there was a guy coming on who was going to lend me his Vulture, his salvager, but he hasn't been on. So now this is going up to the top deck. My mistake. I only wanted to go to the lower deck. And as you can see, I'm just light, and then we're just going to fly down to the planet. It's a quick zip, so I'll get the doors open, get the engines on. And I'll just show you the things. We'll just do a little bit of a hop up there. So we'll get it going. You can also put the legs and the motors up, of course, so you gear up. And I'm on decoupled mode. If you just want a quick spin around, see where we are. Bajini. Take a look back at the station. It's upside down. Yeah. That's Bajini Point. We're going down there. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Sounds lagging. Oh, that's the one we want to go to. Found it. Sounds like robots on helium, doesn't it? What's the matter? So this is Argo, Area 18, Riker Memorial. Captain Andreas at the helm. I'm going to dive around this cloud base. It's a clear day apart from that. And once you get under the clouds as well, you can see perfectly well. And I'd like to do, you should be able to do passenger runs as well. You know, one of these fitted out as a passenger ship, or even some of the luxury liners used for dignitaries and stuff, but with the general populace. I've called it in. I want a landing pad, please. Second. So I'm going to go and sit down over the road there. I reckon my landing pad is going to be this one in the centre over here. And I could sit over the road and watch the traffic for a bit. So mostly for the most of the day when I've been here, especially yesterday when I was doing all of this in my Cutlass Black, I was on Hangar 5 there. we go. Ah, must be one over this side then. Yeah, it's giving me that one. Strange. What's the warning? Typical. Actually, if it's giving it over to somebody else, you know, normally it opens up quicker than that. Best just have a check. So I can't see if it's my hanger until I go inside. Well, I can't check now without moving away. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to assume this one's mine. Near perfect, like a glove, I should say. Reminds me of a catfish. Look at it. Oh, sure, we can get it closer than that. Yeah. But the thruster should have been down like that. It'd been easy to float then. That's why it was. That was why it wasn't floating very well. Okay, so engine's off. Get out of the seat. Now there's a nice sound. Listen to them jets wind down. Normally, the sound has been missing from inside. There is another way out of here, by the way, and I haven't shown you this. I mentioned it from the outside. the airlock, which is just that little padded room, which I was thankful for when I entered the ship that way. When I lost the ship, I stood up in hyperdrive, and the next thing I knew, I'd was catapulted out the ship as I went to go through the doors of the pilot's cabin. But just here, this little jump isn't much anything at all. You know, you can easily jump down there even wearing heavy armour, can't you? And I just want to make sure that the elevator is in the correct position. The food is down to 74%. It is raised. This is my home base actually, this one. So you can see, there's my stuff. You can't stand anything on the table though, because it starts to rock and jive about. It's annoying, because I've got a little model of a carrack I'd like to put on it, and you know, some food and drinks for people if they come in, like my grandson was in when the Invictus event was on. And there was, like I said, two guys earlier today who was going to play, or wanted to play, I could tell. So I've only just tapped the F here to go straight to the top deck, because we're going to use the proper tool. Start us off. Don't know what this is about. Must be something to do with the engineering deck, and you can't actually focus in on it and bring it up like a standard panel like that one. You could lock in and go to it. The thing about this panel is it can show lots of different things. The engines are off, that's why it's showing 0 fuel, but there's tons of fuel in there. Also, I reckon this could be a refueling ship and could carry refueling parts. In fact, when I first saw this ship, because all the things are off, of course, like, you know, the power's off. If I put the, I think that's the engines. You can put the weapons on. This is them winding up. It's a proper jet in it, so that's the way it goes. You know, so you would be like, so on my output I'm only using 2 of 24 power available. I think that's what that's saying. And I've got my shields on as well. Quantum drive, don't want that on. But what I do want is this thing. And you've got a power switch as well there, power off. The main doodah crane. So that's the other thing that is difficult to control. Although the hood is, that thing is blue now. So it's very slow and tedious. I think it'd be better off just with the main hand tool, to be honest with you. Me here all day, aren't I? But I just wanted to show you it. It's not correct, and I need to get the controls sorted out, and then I need to learn to use it. So guess where the elevator will be. But I don't even have to use that, because now we're down on the flight deck. Rather than waiting for the elevator, and I've already got the other door open, See, that really should show automatically, that thing. That main hall out there, once you've come out. If you open the other door, it certainly should shut, because it's literally, the danger is if you forget to shut that door manually, if you can't shut it by, well, in space, you need your space helmet on, wouldn't you, to open and close all the doors, or you'd have to have your helmet on to go in there. Everybody in the ship would have to have their helmets on so that you could go into the airlock, because as you open the door to get into the airlock from the inside of the ship, you would literally be sucked out of the door. This is the other thing that they haven't reproduced in this game yet. So they've tried to make it as lifelike as you can possibly, want. So you've got to eat, you've got to drink. You don't have to go to the toilet yet, but give them some time. And you can trip up and hurt yourself. So put that lip there, look. So now you see also another thing. I'm noticing a difference on my 10, because normally when I move my mouse to the side, I would have just about spun round completely then. So the other slowing down that did whatever it was I moved has affected this. So you can't just have one control, can you please, that would just say this is only for on foot, and whatever you do to this will not affect any other systems whatsoever. No, you can't. So you alter the turret setting, because it says turret and it says V pitch or VJoy pitch, and then you come back here, and now I'm having to sweep and sweep and sweep with my mouse to get my character to turn round. Like, the mouse isn't moving fast enough. And I never tested it, did I, straight afterwards, because I was busy talking. So I forgot to check that it was alright for walking. So now I've ruined that thing. Oh, and I've been bedlogged on this today as well. There's another thing somebody said to me. The problem with the Raft is you can't bedlog. I said, well, if it's got a bed, you should be able to bedlock. And they said, I know, but you can't. So, well, I had no problem. So maybe it's just theirs. And this was an issue that there was Space Tomato and a group of his friends were talking about this. And they were saying that, one of his friends was saying that in some cases, some people have a good time with this game, and yet, whilst one person's having a good time, there's somebody else who can't get on. The game won't even let them play. They can't get a server position. I logged in. My grandson was waiting for me to log in, and usually what we do is I log in first, then he logs in on top of me, so that I can be the leader of the gang. Because let's face it, that's the only way I'm going to lead anything. But basically, he signed in, and he was bored waiting, so he just clicked his and his went straight in. I was another 2 hours trying to get in the game, so I left him playing with stuff. But of course, because I wasn't in the game, I couldn't invite him, and he only had his ships that they had from the Invictus Week, which are all combat ships, and he's not frightened of jumping in them and taking them for a spin. So that's a good thing. I know people who, I dare touch it, I might break it. It's only a game. It's mostly broken on its own anyway. Just chuck them in. See, I should just be able to connect with that other laser cannon and throw them in there. high, when I let go of it, it should land somewhere near the elevator. Got all these to do, look. There's only about 40 boxes, because I do this in my Cutlass Black, and that's only a 46/47, but you can actually get about 60 boxes in it, because you can take a couple through the door if you're really pushed, and put them in the centre of your triangular room behind your pilot and your bunk beds, between your bunk beds and the pilot. You can also put some down the side, although they do start to dance around and glitch through the ship, but that's how I found out you could get them in the room behind the pilot, the middle room in the cutter, because one did its dance and I was waiting for it to pop out of the bottom of the ship. I'm sure anybody who's got a Cutlass Black knows exactly what I'm talking about. And it pops out the bottom. Usually it can jump out the top sometimes and sit on the wing, one of the front stay, like the front aileron, as it were, if it is an aileron. And or it can jump out and just fall through the floor of the floor of the vehicle, which is the norm for it. But I've had quite a few messy vehicle loading and unloading tasks like that. It's usually obviously with loading, because that's the difficulty, is putting them in, because you're not fixing them to a cargo grid like this with the white shadow the ghost of the box on the floor. You're basically just placing it and standing another one on top, because you can stack these type of boxes too high, maybe four high, depends. And basically, instead of the box glitching through the floor, it glitched into the cabin, right through the bunk beds in the Cutlass Black. And then I had to get it out, and I thought, oh, it's not going to go through the door, but it did. It went through the door, just easy, just real easy. And then just outside of the cabin door, you can stand another two, one on top of the other. And then I close the doors and I fill the rest of the ship up like in that sort of fashion. All loose, barring the first two rows. You don't really get to put them in on a cargo grid after the first two rows. There's 8 at the back, right near the bulkhead. The mouse wheel wasn't working then, so mouse wheel stopped working. I'm wheeling it forwards. Oh, it is going very, very slowly though. Easy just to run it in. So I don't know whether I'll leave this video as it is with my ranting over the top, or whether I've got to listen to it back and see whether the sound's any good. And if I've not spoken gibberish and made a fool of myself, which is quite easy for me to do, I don't need any help. So I'm not a complete idiot. Some parts are still missing. So that one's stuck. Come on out. Come on out. Yes. That sort of hits an invisible wall, bounces back. So there's all sorts of physics going on. Watch this. All sorts of physics going on, isn't there? We think, oh, it should just be affected by gravity, and then another box sat at the side of it shouldn't keep it locked in place, but it does. And that's because we're not dealing with physics as we think of them, as we know them in the real world. We're mimicking those physics of gravity and of weight and of movement in a game. So that looked pretty realistic, only the little jump that it did, it sort of like jumps back on itself. So it's the landing that doesn't look very good. Spinning the wheel, trying to get it to go in. So, for a chilled afternoon yesterday and today, chilled Sunday morning, basically I was just doing this, you know, I'm watching a film, got a film playing on the same PC, I'm not recording of course at that point, and so what is enticing about doing this? It's boring, but yeah, it is boring, but you know, you're just chilling, you're loading boxes, and then at the end of it you'll see the nice little reward you get. And just in case I forget, because I normally do, we'll just have a look at the monies. So down in this bottom corner it says I've got 3,169,000, but I'm not going to have 3 million, because once I've done this little jobby, this will give me about 300,000. So I'll have about 3.5 million, and I'm thinking 3.5 million is what one of these costs. So I could go to 4 and do this, because it's arguably just as easy to do the cargo with this as it is with the other thing, but you can also do bigger cargo jobs with that. Or I could keep my Cutlass Black as my main cargo ship, which I quite like flying, and buy myself the Prospector for mining. It's not coming out. That was more realistic, the way it fell over. This is annoying, with it not turning round as quick. I think I'll go do a few more again with the tool. So we'll go right to the top floor. Yeah, so something's changed on my look. It's moved a lot slower now. So it's spinning without my control, without my permission. It's out of whack. I can't do nothing with it. So I can hold C to do that. Don't know where that one landed. Oh, it got stuck up here. Right in front of my face. That's 4. See what I mean about how it swoons around? And that one's in anyway. Fair enough. That one don't want to come off. That one doesn't want to come off. So it's quite a lot of idiosyncrasies going on. Slap it round. So if you had one of these buttons that you could set up for the other way around, like to go that way towards the thing. So when I hold C, I'm not touching the mouse or anything now, it's just floating on its own. As soon as I hold C, it zips around. If I had one of those for that away, that would make it better to be able to control it, I hope. Can't get those. So there's something going on there, and I want to go and clear up anyway, so don't want to leave it too long. I don't know how well this video is running though. I'm trying to get off the gun now. Was I off the gun? I was off the gun. For some reason I couldn't walk backwards. Something's going on. I'm stuck on the ladder now. Nice. Just for easy counting them, really. It's not being overly OCD. So, well, we could count them from the contracts menu. Contracts accepted 6, and they're all at 50 grand a time. So starting with this one, that's 8, 18. That's the number I'm looking at there. I haven't delivered any of them yet until I send the elevator down. That's 18, and that's 26, and that is 33, isn't it? 43, 51 in this batch. So easily enough room. So I would have got all these in my Cutlass Black. Thought I saw somebody running up there then. I've had that before. So people who've got access to my hangar, because this is my personal hangar, generally shouldn't be able to get in, but I've got a few people who do have access, who are friends, and they're currently playing, so they're on. They're not people I know personally, they're just people who I've played with. And they said, yeah, you know, anytime. A couple of guys brought me like the guy was going to bring me a vulture today, but I ain't seen him. Maybe he's not on, maybe he went out, maybe he forgot. But he said he didn't like the vulture, although he's bought it. This is a player with millions. He's got big capital ships. And he said he was going to bring it to me and park it up. What I'll do in the future is I'll make an arrangement to park somewhere with them. So I've done that for people before today. So look, I'm going to go and park my ship there if you want to use it. The ones I'm not using today. So for instance, on a day when I'm not using my I think I am going to go and buy the vulture. The vulture is about 3 million. But I don't think it's available for purchase in the game. I'm not 100% sure on that. And it's certainly not available for rent. That's why he was going to lend me his to play with. But there's variations on how you get your hands on a ship. And the only way that Cloud Imperium RSI wants you to do it is giving them real money for it. Ah. That's a strong magnet. I dropped this box. Heavy box. It just stuck to the ceiling. Anyway, yeah. So if I'm not using my mining ship for the day, and I know the people are on, they might just send me a message, say, if you're on, can I borrow your mining ship? And I'll say, yeah, I'll park it in the usual place, so that it can go in the global chat. Nobody else knows where the global place is, where my usual place is. Only me and him. It's like for some of my games that I have passwords for when it's password protected. A lot of people know my silly little passwords that I use. Unlike there was a YouTuber I was watching, I'm not going to mention who it was, but basically I like him. He's a good YouTuber and everything else, and he does make interesting videos, and he's got a lot of good comments. But for all of his experience in the game, he doesn't actually have a lot of common sense when he's playing, and he's doing some sensitive work, and he's actually streaming it live, like I'm streaming live now, but nobody's going to mess with me. I'm not worth it. You know, I've got no subscribers. I've got a few in another channel, but I'll be lucky if somebody does come and mess with me. They might be videoing it as well, and I might get some extra views. So somebody we know views obviously doesn't often get raided or anything like that. I've never seen it. I've seen these big YouTubers drop, 60, 100, 600 players, 600 people on, viewers on to somebody else's channel. But yeah, that's how it goes. That's how the look goes. Anyhow, so this guy was playing, and some people came up and completely wrecked all of his stuff, all of his game, and he goes, well, what do you expect? Well, yeah, he should expect it, shouldn't he? If he's making a live video, people can see where he's going. Pardon me, I'm tired today. Not work in the morning, new job. I've got a new job tomorrow. So that way, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. But going this way, it's, oh, there's one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So apart from the front row, which isn't a full row, that's 6, 12, 18, 24. Did I count them right? Yeah. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. '59, '60, '61. Is that right? I thought I counted 51. Can't be right, can it? If you're only going to count 6, 5, 6, because this front row is only a 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is 51. So there's 51 boxes in there. I'll just show you my 3.169351. 531. Looking away. Thank you. This is where you find out it's lowered, and now you got to raise it. And then you look back, and it's all gone, and you haven't got paid for it. That's happened before. So now when you put this on, it'll tell you you've got an 8, another 8, a 7, a 10, and a 10. So that's 10, 20, 28, 35, 42, 50. How was that 51 then? 2 8 16, 3 8 24, 31, 41, 51. There's definitely 51. And then when you put them in, we'll just excuse from that. So where was that? So there's the 7, the 10, so that's 17, an 8, so that's 25, isn't it? Another 8, 33, another 8, so that's, is that 41? And I haven't got a number. I maybe missed one of the 10s. So it's going to do that 6 times to say you got a rookie rank job for 50 grand. But look at my money. $3,420. 3,420,000. Well, this ship is 3.5. Well, let's call it 3.6 million. So I'd only have to do another one of them runs, and I could afford one of them. But it's a toss-up between that and the Prospect TEMP and the Vulture. I was gonna buy a Vulture. There's the last one. There's the 10. Look, it's just come in. Told you it was. We had a 41. There's 51. And there's the contract complete rookie rank. And that should be it. So, yeah. The issue is I don't want to do cargo all the time. The jobs that I do want to do the cargo on are only the short ones. So, as an example, contracts. That's the history, that's the offers, salvage, all in. You're only going to get 55 grand for that one, and you've only got to pick up 4 containers. Oh no, 4 SCU or smaller containers. So you've got to pick up 12 and then 7, and they're going to different places. So it's a lot of messing about. So it's not worth the 55 grand when you consider the 50 grand ones that I've just done. I'll show you the 50 grand ones in a minute. There's 90 grand for that, but you've got to go there and there and there and there. Sal 5 and Sal 2 and 0 45. At any of these places you can get shot. You know. So there's another one, 73. You think, ooh, 73, it's more money. but it isn't, because it's 111 crates, and that takes such a long time to load 111 crates. Whoever thought it was going to be a good idea to load the crates manually is bonkers. So take a balance with this type of a job here, which I don't know how long these jobs are going to be in the game for, but you've got just 10 containers for 50 grand, and all you have to do is take them from Bikini Point, which is just above where we are now, and bring them down to the planet, and you've made 50 grand. You could do one job at a time if you wanted, but look, there's another one for 56, but look at how many. So people go and jumping them down, say, oh, it's 56, take that one. No, because it's 89 containers, right? It's still only from Bengini down to Riker, but it's 89 containers. It's a long haul of stuff spent sticking stuff under your ship, or trying to. I wouldn't even be able to do that mission in one. That'd be 2 trips in the Cutlass Black. There's another one, 50 grand, just for 8 containers. So I do that one for 10, that one for 50, that one for 50. That's 8 containers. That one, which is a 7, that one there, which is a 10, and that one there, which is an 8. Sometimes it's a couple of 11s, and that would be 6 jobs. But I've had enough tonight, because I just thought I'd record this quick video before. Well, it's not a quick video, is it? It's been going for an hour now. So that was just an hour of me playing, and like I say, 3.5 million nearly. Not just today, but I mean, when I started yesterday, I was on about 975,000. So I've taken about 2.5 million over with cargo, just doing that job and a few others. I've been all over the place. I've been to Arkel 1 and Harel 1 and Harel 2 and Harel 3, especially with this, because I went over to Hairston to rent this. This is only rented today, and I was trying to see if I could rent the Vulture, but I couldn't find anywhere that would rent it. Asked ChatGPT as well to search, see where it was available for rent. No, it's not available for rent. You can't rent the Vulture, although ChatGPT does get things wrong all the time. So Prospector you can hire, and you're supposed to be able to hire the Vulture, but other than that, I'll buy it. But I'm buying it blind, because the guy who was lending me one today hasn't turned up, so I don't know what the gameplay loop's like. I haven't done much scrappage. I've only used the hand tool to scrap things with, and that was it. I've been on a team that was scrapping, but there was somebody else doing the scrapping, and I was flying the ship for him. Another guy running the cargo backwards and forwards, and he was changing the side pods over on the it wasn't the Prospector, it was the other one, the Argo mining vehicle, the big one, which takes 2 people to drive it. I mean, you can do solo mining, but you got to keep running between the seats, and if you heat up the rock to the point where it's going to explode, there's 2 different cabins. There's one at this side, it looks a bit like this ship actually, and your pilot sits above, and then there's another head below, and there's another head this side, but the pilot cannot control any of the heads, so you have to jump out and keep jumping in the other seats, go down to the front cockpit to get to the main nozzle at the front. And if any of them rocks explode, they damage your ship, so it's not worth trying to do it solo. The Prospector you can, because you're flying the ship and using the mining control, so you can back it off, you know, as it gets hot, and when it does crack, when you're fracturing the rock, it won't damage your ship as much if you can move your ship away. Anyway, that's it from me. This is Captain Andreas, wishing you all the best, and hopefully I'll see you again. So I'm going to go and seal up all the holes on the ship, or else I'll be out in space and I'll forget this one's open. I'll be catching space bugs in my airlock. And you don't want space bugs in your airlock. And you don't want to fart in your spacesuit. So, but as welcome as a fart in a spacesuit is a good terminology. So, and I haven't found everything out about this ship yet. Anyway, thank you very much, and I will see you again. Taddy bye.